people have difficulties memorizing a large volume of paragraphs or information, especially students who need to take exams. In this video, let's talk about how to memorize information and keep it in your memory. There are 4 points I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes. Number 1. When you want to memorize knowledge for a long time, you must go through information reprocessing. Mechanical retelling is not effective in memorizing information. Don't directly recite the narrative text from the book. You must read it in your own way, for example, in your own language. First, memorizing information generally requires long-term memory. The key to convert short-term memory to long-term memory lies in the level of sophistication of processing. Long-term memory means that information is retained in the mind for a long time after it has been processed sufficiently and deeply. This is permanent storage, and it lasts from 1 minute to many years or even a lifetime. There is no limit of capacity. If you just memorize according to the narrative logic and specific expression of the book, you will find you can't memorize everything, and you usually forget the information straight afterwards. This kind of memory is a mechanical repetition. Studies have shown that mechanical retelling does not enhance your memorizing capabilities. Number 2. Memorizing is not a once-off task and usually needs repetition. If you just repeat the expression on the book, it takes a lot more time to process in the second and third memory storage. There are 2 reasons for this. Firstly, the memory is not strong enough, and secondly, the expression on the book is often too detailed and the context is too large. What if it is slow processing based on your own knowledge and experience? The first memory is not necessarily slower than direct memorization. The narrative in the book is the author's logic system, the language system we are unfamiliar with. If it is converted to a familiar language system, it will be easier to memorize. Slow processed and fine-tuned knowledge is more effective to be digested and stored. It refers to linking the context to be remembered with existing knowledge and experience. It also makes the latter on repeated memories more time-saving and efficient because of the familiarity with your language systems and logical habits. Number 3. How to describe it in your own language. Memorize the point, bring the points into a line. Generally speaking, the book's own expression has exceeded our original knowledge system and language system. How can we read the book from our own language? One way is to memorize the original keywords, key knowledge points, then connect the points into lines. Referring to the point information of this piece is logical content. How to connect. After memorizing the keywords and knowledge points, memorize the relationship, the cause and effect, the time, the space, the characters. Then use your own language and logic to put the keywords together. For example, in this sentence, economic growth, inflation-adjusted market, percentage rate of increase in real GDP are the key words. Try it. It's not difficult, but you need to mobilize your brain to think. It may be tricky in the beginning, but you can do it. The benefits to this are, first, you only need to memorize the keywords and logical relationships, so you save a lot of time. Second, lining up the key points is equivalent to coding, which means you have coded in your own language that you are more familiar with. And third, when you are doing the lining up, you are doing revision of your knowledge actively, rather than mechanical repetition, which is key to memorizing. Number 4. Memorize less, do not memorize more. What is less? If it is a certain knowledge point, there are many interpretive sentences that complement and explain each other. Only choose the core sentence to memorize and temporarily discard the rest, even if they add a lot of detail. The reasons for doing this are, firstly, as mentioned before, one textbook is often too rich in detail and has too much context, but the book is really there to help understanding. All of these details are necessary, but it is not necessary to memorize everything, and it is enough to extract the most critical information. Secondly, you can't memorize everything. Even if you memorize it at the time, it is easy to begin forgetting the older information. It is like the domino effect. At the beginning of memorization, memorizing less can reduce the number of tasks and reduce the review frequency. Moreover, because of less, the content becomes more familiar, so you can memorize better and can improve the coverage of memory content. Then, slowly moving from less to memorize more. For example, a certain paragraph of important text you have recorded 2 critical points. In the third review, these points have become part of your existing knowledge base. Memory works based on the existing knowledge structure of the human being. When the input information is imported into the existing knowledge system of the human brain, the new information can be better consolidated in your head. So to wrap up, the 4 key points to efficient memorizing. Number 1, always process the information. Mechanical retelling does not work. Number 2, linking the content with the existing knowledge and experience. Number 3, describe it in your own language. Start with point information, then connect points into a line. And number 4, memorize less. Do not memorize everything. Then you will be able to memorize more. Thank you for your time and continuous support. Please stay tuned and click the subscribe button below.